All right. My name's Eddy Blanco from Blanco Realty.
And I'm Stephanie Heron, also with Blanco Realty.
Today we're going to be going over the buying process. So this is a big decision for a lot of first-time home buyers. A lot of people don't know the process, and it can be somewhat overwhelming before you get into it. But we'll go ahead and let Stephanie start the first few steps and see how far she can get. Okay.
Okay. First couple of steps. You're going to want to get pre-qualified first, just to see about what you can afford, as well as what type of loan you're going to be receiving.
Well, let's start before we even get the pre-qual, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't even know what a pre-qual is.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so when the first thought in your head comes that, I'm thinking I want to get a house. What usually happens is, well, I need a realtor, so they'll reach out to the realtor.
Exactly.
And at that point, the realtor is going to go ahead and send you over to a loan officer. All realtors are not lenders, so we'll go ahead and give you that information right now. But most realtors do have great partners they know, trust, and work with, so they know what lenders are good and which lenders are difficult to work with. So I would definitely urge you to trust your realtor's advice when they give you a lender to use. I've had clients who haven't done that. It's been a horrible experience. Interest rate, fees, they paid more than they needed to pay by not listening to your realtor. So I guess at that point we're at what is a pre-qual? Go ahead.
Pre-qualification is just running your credit, making sure what you can, like I said, qualify for your home loan, as well as what type of loan, whether it be conventional or FHA. There are some times where there's those special circumstances where you can get a VA loan if you were in the military.
Cash works too.
Cash.
If you have enough cash, you're going to put you ahead of a lot of those other buyers out there. But not everybody has $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 just to throw out there on a new house. So there are a lot of programs that will help you that people don't even know about. First-time homebuyer programs, down payment assistance programs. There's a lot of them out there. So if you think you want to get a house but don't think you can get qualified for one, reach out. I mean, you never know. I mean, there could be a program out there for you. Or worst case scenario, the lender usually partners with credit repair people as well, or they have their own in-house, and they can go and show you, hey, you do X, Y, and Z, you're approved in 30 days. Or you could get approved right off the bat without even knowing it. So if you're thinking about buying, don't let the interest rate keep going up on you. I mean, it's a great time. Find out. That way, even if you don't go forward, you know the path and you know how long it would take you, or if you can do it now. Okay, so pre-qual. Once we get the pre-qual, and the pre-qual is just showing that you're pre-qualified to actually have the ability to purchase the home, because a lot of sellers are not going to let you just in their house to look or make an offer when they don't know if you can afford the house or not. So that's what the pre-qual does. It just shows, yes, I have a able buyer ready to buy. So that's just proof of that. So after you receive that, what's the next step?
The next step would be your realtor will get you set up on the MLS with your search criteria, and email you anything that comes up that meets that criteria, so that we can schedule showings and possibly make an offer.
Now, the MLS search is huge. That's going to set you apart from the Zillow, Realtor.com, those other peasant buyers looking just online without a realtor. Flex MLS is updated in real time. Zillow, Realtor.com, a lot of online platforms are not. So when we give you this tool or your own portal access to search, definitely use it, because if you're going to be stuck on Zillow, you're going to be behind some of the other buyers. And that's probably the most frustrating thing to me about the buying process. For some reason, people love to use Zillow, and they're like, hey, I'd love to see this house, and here's the address, and then you look up the house, and what do you find?
It's not on the MLS.
It's been sold. People are already going to have their anniversary in that house because it's not updated. So listen to your realtor. Use the tools he has for you, because we have a lot of fees. We pay a lot to have these tools to be able to give to you guys. Pre-qual, home searching. Once you find an area and you go on that search and you find something you like, you can put in an offer. So how does this happen? What's the offer process?
The offer process is you let your realtor know how much you're going to offer, what your earnest deposit is, as well as any other special conditions that you might have. Realtor will go and fill out that contract for you, make sure everything is where it needs to be, and send them to you, usually via email, so that you can sign. And we will actually send the offer to the other realtor, the listing agent, and wait to see what happens.
I feel like there's a few steps in that explanation. Okay, so
miss a few.
we want to submit the offer, and this has to be a strong offer. So you don't want to just tell your realtor, make the offer. He's going to have some questions to follow up with you with, like, say it's $300,000 house. It's listed for the $300,000. How much do you want to offer? If you're offering $300,000, you're probably not going to get that home, because it's a strong seller's market almost in all areas. So you're going to probably have to go a little over. I mean, unless you're a cash buyer, but even that's not guaranteed if you're just paying the list price. So you want a strong offer, especially if you really like that home. And don't be afraid of the strong offer, because it's still going to be more beneficial than not getting the home at all. Because there's other ways, and once we go to those other steps, I'll go ahead and touch more into the other ways to get those fees for you down. But the first is the offer, and then the offer, you just want to tell your realtor how much you want to offer. So say it's $300,000, we go $310,000. Okay. There's a lot of other things in the agreement. We can ask for, like, concessions. We can ask for a home warranty. There's appliances. We can ask for a lot of other things in that to make up for that $10,000 we're offering. But say we make that offer and we're rejected. Nobody likes rejection, but you're probably more used to it than I am. So what do you do when your buyer calls you, hey, did we get the offer? How do you break the news?
I usually let them know that the other agent normally will let you know how many other offers were given. So I kind of touch base on that and just let them know that there were so many offers and they went with a certain one. And it's not always because it's more money. There's always other issues that are involved with it. Sometimes the buyer or the seller wants to stay in the home for a month after it's sold. And usually if you add that in the offer, I've noticed that they're more likely to take a lower amount if they can stay. It just happens
sometimes. To me. If they want to stay.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah, if they want to stay. Usually they'll write those conditions on there, like, oh, we need post-possession, which means the house is sold, but they still want to stay for a certain amount of time. And that's usually not a big deal if you have somewhere to stay. If not, then it can get a little tricky. But that option is there. There's a lot of ways to get your offer to stand out. Appraisal is a huge one. A lot of people, especially out-of-towners, are coming in and they're offering $20,000, $30,000 over listing price, because where they're coming from, California, they're already paying those prices. So coming here for a huge house for less than over there, I mean, it's not overcharged to them. To them, it's a great investment. It's a great thing for us realtors, but for us as buyers, it's not so good for the market, because now we're just going to keep creeping up, and eventually we're going to be like California prices. So that's kind of the offer process. I mean, we could talk all day about it, but we'll go ahead and move on from that point. So after the offer, we get rejected. break the news. It's not you, it's them, whatever. And then we go back out there again.
You're back to the drawing board.
We find a house. Say we find one. They meet all the terms. You finally get accepted. You call your buyer. It's a great phone call. You get to call them with, and at that point, you need to set up what?
Your inspection within 10 days of acceptance.
Now, do you have to set up the inspection?
No, if the buyer chooses not to have it inspected, then that would actually go in the contract.
What circumstances would you advise that, or would you ever advise that?
I would not advise that myself.
Why not?
Because if you purchase something and you don't know if anything major is wrong with it, then you're stuck.
What if it looks great and so pretty?
Everything looks great on the outside.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cosmetically make it look amazing, but just because it cosmetically looks wonderful doesn't mean your plumbing or your AC units or
Mold.
anything. It's
Yeah. You never know. You never know what the problems could be. They could have plumbing issues, interior electric issues. You spend that money for the inspection, because a couple $100 is not a bad investment to make sure your house is in good shape. So after we set up the inspection, the inspector will go through everything they find with you. They'll give it to your realtor. You'll then tell the realtor, okay, I want this, this, and this fixed, and we'll write it up and we'll submit it to the seller's agent. They'll then look at it and they'll either accept, decline, or counter us. At that point, if we don't come to an agreement, contract's over, we have to go on to the next house. So usually we do come to some agreement. Even if they don't want to fix all the items, they might issue a credit and we can get those items fixed ourselves. So if you're handy, if you can do a lot of them on your own, I mean, that's great. Take the money, fix them on your own, and then you have a little more money to work with. Or we can negotiate the price back. So remember I was saying on that 300,000 home, we offered 310. We can say, okay, these repairs, don't do them, but go ahead and give me X amount. So now it's kind of getting you back to that 300 mark, so that original offer isn't as bad as it seemed to be at first. So say we get past that, we agree, inspection's over, we then tell the lender to do what?
appraisal.
Appraisal, all right, you're getting it, okay. Appraisal, and why do we need an appraisal?
Because the lender will not give you more than the house appraises for.
Okay, if you are a cash buyer, would you still order an appraisal? Or do you have to still order an
No, you
appraisal?
do not have to.
Would you?
I would. Because I want to make sure that I'm paying at least close to the amount that I'm paying cash for.
Yeah, and the appraisal is just going to tell you what the house is worth at that time. Because you can have a pending sale across the street similar to your house, but it's not closed yet. Say it closes for $10,000 over what the house you're buying is worth. That's going to bump up your house amount right there. So anything in the neighborhood similar to yours sold over appraisal price is going to bump up the whole neighborhood. So that's why these people paying so much over, valued price, they're not just affecting that home, they're affecting the whole neighborhood, because all those prices are going to be appraised higher. So for a seller, that's great news. For a buyer, not so great. So the appraisal is always good to do. If the appraisal comes in at least at the list price on the contract, you're good to go. If it doesn't, on the other hand, then what?
Then the seller can actually decide to go with the appraisal and ask for the more money, correct?
They can, and the
Or-
buyer can, then what?
Decide to not go on with the contract, to kind of pull out.
Right, and most of the time, if it doesn't appraise, they might ask for a couple thousand over, but it's really unlikely. If it's 50,000 over, they're going to ask the buyer to pay that much, because they know, unless it's a cash buyer, the buyer's going to have to come out of pocket for that. So any loans, FHA, conventional, whatever loan they get, that FHA or conventional, they have to send their appraiser out to make sure the house appraises for the loan amount. Then they'll give them the amount. If it doesn't, they're only going to give them the appraisal amount. Everything else is going to be out of pocket for that buyer. Now, if the buyer wants to go forward, they have to have that money available. But most buyers, if they had that money available, they wouldn't need a loan. So the seller knows that if they say no and they don't want to drop the price to the appraisal price, they're going to have the same problem going forward with the next buyer who has a loan, because regardless who they have, it's going to be the same outcome if it doesn't appraise to the list price. So say we get through the appraisal process, we're on next to closing. Really?
No, not closing, not yet.
Well, it depends. It depends. So not really. It doesn't go right to closing. So
It goes into escrow.
It's already in escrow as soon as we go under contract.
Okay.
So we want to make sure if you have a home warranty, and we always try to get our clients home warranties in the official offer. Most of the time they will okay it, or we'll do our best to make sure you have one regardless. So the home warranty is very important because that gives you a warranty on the house for a year. Anything goes wrong, you don't have to worry about coming out of pocket because you just bought a house, so we want to make sure you're taken care of. So at this point, after the appraisals, inspection's done, we can order that home warranty for you. And at that point, we'll send it to title, they'll have it, it'll come out of the seller's funds if agreed to that. If not, it'll come out from somewhere else, but that's all negotiation. After that, then it's all in the lender's hands. So at that point, they'll make sure everything's still on track, all your documents, your employment, everything's verified. They get the closing document, they go ahead and get approval for you. At that point, all you gotta do is keep on your buyer, make sure they don't do anything stupid. Don't go buy a house, don't go buy a car, don't go put anything else in your name until this house you're currently under contract with is over with, because that can affect your credit and lose your eligibility to buy the house you're looking at. So even though you have a pre-qual for a certain amount and you go buy another house, it's still going to affect this house. Don't do that. No credit stuff until you're done with the process. So
don't go and buy a whole house full of furniture for your new house. Wait until it's over.
Right. And then I think the last step, well, almost the last step before we close is, let's see, do you know this one?
I do not.
Final walkthrough.
Haven't gotten that far.
The final walkthrough is very important, because say we go in the house, we love the house, we put the offer, do the inspection, do the appraisal, and then we go for the final walkthrough, usually a day or 2 days before closing, and we see holes all over the walls, all the appliances are gone that was supposed to stay with the property. That's a problem.
Different ones.
That's an issue. So you want to make sure you have a good realtor, because once you give that offer, the realtor should be taking pictures of those appliances and go ahead and notating them. That way the final walkthrough, when we go through and they're not the same appliances or not there at all, we have proof to cover you guys. So final walkthrough is very important because you want to make sure it's still intact and you're still getting what you signed up for. After final walkthrough is done and everything looks good, then it's closing day. Then it's closing day. So at closing day, this is a great day for everybody involved. The negotiation's over, all the loops you have to jump through is over. We just wait for title. So at that point, the lenders will go ahead and send the CD and the approval to title. Title will go ahead and get all the signings done, and then you'll go ahead and send that to the recorder's office. And that's just the county, wherever the house is. They have a file of homes closing that day. Yours will be somewhere in there depending on when the title company sends it off, and we just wait. So usually they close at 5, so anytime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. you'll get that email, congratulations, your clients have closed, and then we can go grab the keys for our clients and celebrate. So this is a exciting day, waiting around. You never know, but somehow it always seems like it's at a minute before 5 p.m. when you get that email. So it's a great journey. It's not as hard or as complicated as a lot of people think it is. And as a buyer, you should know this by now too, I think, you don't pay for a realtor commission. As a buyer, the seller will always pay unless negotiated in the offer. But most of the time, as a buyer, don't go into the process by yourself. Get a realtor, because there's no charge to you, and they're going to cover you. They're going to help you out. They're going to be on your side to watch for your best interest. So don't go buying alone, especially in this seller's market right now. Definitely get a buyer's agent to represent you. So you have a buyer right now. How's that process? What step are you guys in?
We just submitted an offer. We're waiting to see what happens with that offer. I've yet to be at a closing day. I'm very excited to do that.
So you've been at a closing day, just not on that side.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so then I guess I've never been with a client that has gotten the keys.
Right.
And
right.
I'm very excited to do that. So hoping we're...
And you have an offer out there right now.
We do.
Could be accepted. How's that client going for you?
We've actually submitted 3 or 4 offers. So it's been a journey with him, and like I said, it is a hard phone call to make, to say they didn't accept our offer. We gotta move on.
How was that first conversation? How did he take that news? Well, first off, let's go back to the first offer. Now, not everybody knows it's a seller's market. So when you get a buyer saying, let's try to lowball them and go 10,000 under.
Not a good thing. So actually, the first offer that we put in, it was list price. So I did let him know that it probably wouldn't be accepted.
Did it get accepted?
It did not.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Second offer, we went, was it, I think 10,000 over list, and we still didn't get accepted.
Okay. Okay, that's 2. And how was his reaction on the first one?
He was pretty devastated.
Did he try to blame you?
No, he didn't.
Well, that's good. That's
did
good.
not.
Some will. Some will. I mean, we don't control the seller accepting the offers. We only make the offer and give our recommendations.
He did get discouraged, and for a couple of days there, he told me he was done. He wasn't going to do it anymore. He was going to rent. And then I started getting texts saying I want to see this one, and this one. So it's a hard blow to not get accepted, but you move on and you keep looking.
Okay, what about the second time he got denied? How did he take it?
I don't actually think I could put that on air.
Wow, really? Interesting. We got to get him in here one day. Okay.
Yeah.
Has there been a third time yet?
We just made the third offer.
Oh, so whether this goes good or bad, you need to do a video of that phone call, giving him the news. Whether it's accepted or not, we want to know. I want to see this video recording of you giving him this news. Maybe you can zoom it to him, and we'll go ahead and put it on for our next little talk here.
Yeah, he's very colorful.
Really?
Yes,
Very
he is.
interesting. So I have a couple buyers as well. One is actually, they're selling and buying, which is really hard because we have a contingency. So the contingency, we're kind of going in at a disadvantage because say Stephanie wants to buy a house and she has a loan ready to go. Contingency offer, I have to let the seller know the offer is contingent on my house selling and then closing with you guys. So, I mean, I don't blame the seller. I would definitely prefer someone who didn't have a contingency because that's just one more hurdle. But at that point, you just got to get out there, keep putting offers, and eventually you'll get the right seller at the right time and get it approved. So I know it's going to happen soon.
It will.
I know it's going to happen soon.
And Eddie has always told me it's better to look during the week than on the weekend.
Let's not give all those other realtors those secrets. We don't want them to start doing it. Okay, keep looking on the weekends. But yeah, the weekends, everybody's out there looking. Most sellers and their agents are saying, okay, we'll wait till Monday and go through all the offers for the weekend. So say we go out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Monday right after, and they didn't get any offers or they didn't like the offers, you're at a great advantage at that point. But yeah, anything else on the buying process? Anything you like, hate?
No, I don't think I like or hate anything.
If you could get
it's
one
kinda-
piece of advice to buyers out there, what would it be?
don't be afraid to offer a little bit over. It looks scary when you're telling your realtor, hey, okay, let's go ahead and offer 10, 15 over.
Right?
And then you can see the look on their face. But it's going to pay off and you're going to get that house eventually.
Hopefully, yeah. My piece of advice would be listen to your realtor. This is what we do for a living. We do this all the time. We've seen all the transactions. We've seen the offers get approved and offers get rejected. We know the process. I mean, it makes no sense for us to give you bad advice because, I mean, this is how we get paid too. We want you to get an offer accepted. So we're not going to tell you something to lower your chances of getting a house. It's very competitive out there. We're going to try to give you everything we can to put you above the other buyers out there. So if you're a buyer, if you're thinking about buying, let us know. We'll go and let you know if it's time, if you're capable of buying right now, or we have to wait a little bit. But either way, get a realtor, whether it's us or not.
Yeah.
Definitely get a realtor if you're going to buy. But it's still a great time. Don't let interest rates keep rising, either way. I'm Eddy Blanco.
And I'm Stephanie Heron.
Talk to you next time.